Guy Fieri built a $25 million food empire from nothing, starting with small food stands, simple ideas, and an unusual amount of determination. In 2025, during his son Hunter's wedding, people unexpectedly learned one of the most surprising things about him. While giving his speech, Hunter revealed that his father has a very strict rule that nobody knew about. Guy's children do not automatically inherit anything from him. They do not get his businesses, his restaurants, or his money. To receive anything, they must earn it by completing 2 college degrees and proving they can stand on their own. This shocked people, but it also showed why Guy is the way he is and how deeply his experiences shaped him. Guy Ramsey Fieri, who later became Guy Fieri, was born on January 22, 1968, in Columbus, Ohio. His father worked in fabric manufacturing and his mother stayed home to take care of the family. When Guy was only 2 years old, they moved to Ferndale, California, a small and quiet town. His parents believed strongly in eating healthy, so the meals at home were plain and simple. They mostly ate brown rice, fish without seasoning, vegetables, and almost never any sugar. Guy later joked that this is probably why he became obsessed with bold flavors and comfort food. He wanted the exact opposite of what he grew up eating. At 10 years old, he wanted to start earning money. He asked his father to help him build a 3-wheeled pretzel cart. With that cart, he began selling soft pretzels for 25 cents each. He worked hard, saved every dollar, and by the time he was 14, he had saved more than $3,000. His parents taught him early that if he wanted something special, he had to work for it. That pretzel cart was the first real lesson in business and responsibility that would shape the rest of his life. When he was 12, Guy had a frightening dirt bike accident. His parents were traveling in Europe at the time, so another adult had to sign papers for his emergency surgery. The accident left him with a long scar and months of recovery. He later used humor to talk about it, but the truth is that it changed him. It taught him that pain, fear, and setbacks are part of life, and the only choice is to keep moving forward. When he became a teenager, he worked in a crab shack as a dishwasher. He watched the cooks closely, studying how they worked, how they moved, and how they handled food. His parents continued insisting he learn chores and develop discipline, so if he wanted good food, he had to learn to make it himself. He began experimenting with cooking techniques, reading any books he could find about French cooking, and trying to put his own spin on recipes. Between 1984 and 1986, Guy began selling pizzas straight out of his parents' garage on Friday nights. He made unusual toppings that nobody else offered at the time, and his classmates lined up outside. This made him known as the food guy in high school. But success wasn't the only thing he experienced. He also faced failures. One time, he tried starting a custom skateboard business and ended up losing $200. That mistake taught him the importance of planning and researching before jumping into business ideas. In high school, he once skipped his prom because he had a catering job. His girlfriend at the time broke up with him because of it. Even though it hurt, he later realized that choosing work over distractions helped him develop the discipline that made him successful. Another problem came when the van he used for work broke down during one of his early food jobs. He had no money for repairs and ended up sleeping in the van overnight. He was cold, frustrated, and unsure what to do. But he still managed to show up the next day and deliver the food he had promised. It was another situation that shaped his belief in hard work and commitment. At 16, he went to France as a foreign exchange student. Living in a small French town changed him. He experienced real European cuisine, visited local markets, and watched professional chefs work in their kitchens. He tried dishes like escargot and learned how to combine flavors in new ways. The trip made him fall in love with cooking even more. He once attempted a flambé dessert and accidentally caused a small fire in the kitchen. His host family grounded him, but that moment became a funny memory that marked the start of his love for dramatic cooking techniques. Later, he went to the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, to study hotel management. He worked at a casino buffet where he observed everything the chefs did. He sometimes argued with management about portion sizes or seasoning, and he was even fired once, but his ideas stayed on the menu. During a food science class, he created a dough experiment that exploded and surprised the whole classroom. He still turned the mistake into a 20-page report about the science of pretzel dough and earned an excellent grade. During the summers, he ran hot dog stands, earning $10,000 each season. He also received fines for health code issues, which embarrassed him, but instead of quitting, he corrected the mistakes and continued improving his business. He even created a small homemade magazine called Budget Gourmet Hacks, which he sold for $2. That little magazine helped him build confidence and gave him a small but loyal audience. In 1993, when he was 25 years old, he opened his first restaurant, Johnny Garlic's. The economy was weak and business was slow, so he lived in the back of the restaurant to save money. But he stayed determined. In 1995, he married Lori Bissell, who helped him run the business and manage branding. Together, they took a $50,000 loan to open the second location, and their hard work paid off. In 1996, Guy opened Tex Wasabi's, a restaurant mixing sushi and barbecue. People thought it was a strange idea, but it quickly became popular. However, the restaurant later suffered an E. coli issue that led to an expensive recall and nearly destroyed everything he had built. Guy stayed strong, rebuilt the business, and refused to give up. Years later, one of his business partnerships turned into a lawsuit in 2011. It was a painful experience that taught him how quickly trust can break in the business world. Eventually, all the Johnny Garlic's restaurants closed by 2019. Even though it was heartbreaking, the closure taught him something important: success is never permanent unless you keep evolving. In 1997, he filmed a short television segment. Viewers liked him, but TV executives didn't. They said his style was too loud and his hair was too unusual. Still, he kept trying. In 2006, he auditioned for the next Food Network star. One casting director almost skipped over his DVD, but when she finally watched it, she immediately recognized his potential. Guy won the competition and launched his first show, Guy's Big Bite. Later, he started diners, drive-ins, and dives, which became a huge success. At one point, producers told him he couldn't use the word Flavortown because it sounded strange. Guy refused to remove it. Today, Flavortown is a major part of pop culture. By 2014, Guy's schedule became so demanding that he collapsed from exhaustion. The doctor warned him to slow down. That moment forced him to think about his family and his health. He realized he had spent years working non-stop and needed to find balance. Controversies also came, including accusations from a former producer, which he strongly denied. Still, his shows remained popular, and his fan base continued to grow. By 2025, diners, drive-ins and dives had filmed more than 1,000 episodes and helped over 500 restaurants become more successful. Many restaurant owners said that his visit changed their lives, sometimes doubling or tripling their sales. During the pandemic in 2020, when thousands of restaurants were shutting down, Guy raised $20 million to support struggling business owners. Many people said he saved them from bankruptcy. He expanded into sauces, tequila brands, ghost kitchens, and best-selling cookbooks. Some of his cookbooks stayed on the charts for weeks. His influence kept growing. On a personal level, Guy faced deep heartbreak. In 2011, he lost his sister Morgan to melanoma. She was only 38 years old. Her son, Jules, was 11, and Guy and Lori immediately took him in and raised him as their own child. This loss changed the family forever and brought them closer. Guy's marriage faced difficulties because of his overwhelming work schedule. There were moments when the stress pushed them apart, but they chose counseling and worked hard to rebuild their connection. This made their relationship stronger and more open. His son Hunter completed 2 college degrees and developed a strong work ethic. His younger son, Ryder, chose a humble lifestyle, even asking for a simple minivan instead of a flashy new truck. Moments like this made Guy especially proud. His nephew Jules earned degrees in music management and legal studies, showing the same family dedication to education and discipline. At Hunter's wedding in 2025, Ryder revealed the family's biggest rule. The children don't automatically receive their father's empire. They must complete 2 degrees and prove they can take care of themselves. Otherwise, they receive nothing. Guy explained that he wants to pass down values, not just money. He believes wealth without discipline causes more harm than good. He wants his children to have purpose and identity, not entitlement. By 2026, Hunter was preparing to take over as the host of Guy's Grocery Games. The family legacy was clearly continuing, not because Guy handed it to his children, but because they earned it. Guy later shared in his memoir that for many years, he secretly struggled with stage fright and often pretended to be confident. One day, he watched his own son, just a teenager at the time, speak fearlessly at a charity event. That moment helped Guy realize that courage sometimes comes from seeing strength in others, even your own children. Guy Fieri's life shows that success comes from relentless effort, surviving heartbreaks, rebuilding after failures, and choosing values over wealth. His family's story shows that love, discipline, and purpose matter more than fame or money. His children's speeches at the wedding did not expose a harsh rule. They revealed a father who wanted his children to grow strong, capable, loving, and independent, just the way he had to become through his own journey.